All right, welcome to the January 25th, 2022 Development Review Commission hearing. The Development Review Commission is created to hold public meetings and hearings to provide analysis and recommendations to the City Council regarding general land use policies and applications where the Commission has recommendatory power, and to render final decisions on specified applications where the Commission has final decision-making power, including but not limited to all aspects of a proposed and future development. The Development Review Commission recognizes that the creation of a desirable environment throughout the city for residents, businesses, and industry is a prime requisite for the interdependence of land values, aesthetics, and good site planning by promoting harmonious, safe, attractive, and compatible development that is therefore considered to be in the best interests of public health, safety, and general welfare. Any person aggrieved by a final decision of the Development Review Commission may file an appeal to the City Council within 14 calendar days after the Development Review Commission has rendered its decision. Development Review Commission recommendations to the City Council are not final decisions. I'm going to run through a roll call here and let you know who's attending primarily virtually tonight. With us tonight are Commissioners Michelle Schwartz, Don Casano, Scott Sumners, Phil Amorosi, and Barbara Lloyd. Also, Vice Chair Steve Bauer, and I'm Chair Mike DiDomenico. With us from staff is Ryan Levesque, Steve Abrahamson, Saparna Dasgupta, Karen Stolball, Lily Drosas, Joanna Berry, and for media, Jason Wolf is running the show. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Our agenda tonight is pretty streamlined. We have first before us two sets of meeting minutes to approve. Those are the study session and regular meeting minutes for December 14th, 2021. We discussed those minutes during our study session, and we have one small edit to those sets of minutes to add one of our alternate members who was in attendance but not listed on those minutes. So I will entertain a motion for approval of those two sets of minutes with that small edit to be made.
Mr. Chairman, it's Commissioner Casano. I would make a motion for approval of the Development Review Commission study session December 14th, 2021, and the regular meeting 12/14/2021.
We have a second.
Commissioner Amorosi, second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. I'll do a roll call vote for approval of the minutes. Commissioner Schwartz.
Aye.
Commissioner Casano.
Aye.
Vice Chair Bauer.
Aye.
I vote aye. Commissioner Sumners.
Aye.
Commissioner Amorosi.
Aye.
And Commissioner Lloyd.
Aye.
The meeting minutes are approved. Now into the meat of the agenda. We have one item. It's listed on the agenda as item number 3, known as the Bartow Residence. This is a use permit to allow required parking within the front yard setback. In study session, we determined that we were going to recommend this case to our consent agenda. It's our intention to vote on this in the affirmative, thereby approving this use permit. Staff, do we have anyone who wishes to be heard on this matter from the public?
No, we do not.
All right, wonderful. Then I will take a motion or consider a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Sumners, I move to approve the consent agenda as read.
It's been moved. Do we have a second?
Mr. Chairman, this is Commissioner Casano. I would second that motion.
All right. Motion made by Commissioner Sumners, seconded by Commissioner Casano. Any conversation, questions? Hearing and seeing none. I will call the question by roll call for approval of the consent agenda. Commissioner Schwartz.
Aye.
Commissioner Casano.
Aye.
Vice Chair Bauer.
Aye.
I also vote aye. Commissioner Sumners.
Aye.
Commissioner Amorosi.
Aye.
And Commissioner Lloyd.
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved. Our final case this evening is item number 4 on the agenda. This is a request for a general plan projected land use map amendment from residential to mixed use for approximately 0.71 acres. General plan projected density map amendment from medium to high density to increase to high density for approximately 1.16 acres. A zoning map amendment from CSS to TOD, CSS TOD to MU4. TOD, and a planned area development overlay to establish development standards and a development plan review for new 3 to 5 story mixed use development, including 182 dwelling units and commercial uses on 2.86 acres. This project is known as Haven at Apache, 1916 East Apache Boulevard. With us to lost my thing. With us to present on this is Brennan Ray, representing the applicant. Mr. Ray, are you available?
I am, Chair, members of the commission. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Can.
Brennan Ray, 1850 North Central, on behalf of Geffen Development Partners. They are the proposed developer of this very small, kind of challenging infill redevelopment site that's got a lot of constraints on it. If you're not familiar with Geffen, they are a national developer that's headquartered in Texas. They develop Class A multifamily communities throughout the U.S. We've worked closely, and I'd say hand in glove, with planning staff and other departments on the requests that are before you. And we certainly appreciate the feedback that we've received along the way, not only from staff, but from members of CVAC as we've gone throughout this process. We believe that the requests are supported by the general plan, and we think we've developed a development that's consistent with the Apache Character Area Plan. We're okay with the conditions of approval, including the additional one that Karen mentioned to you all during your study session, and would request your recommendation for approval. I'm going to be real brief on my presentation because staff I know is going to present after me, and I know they did a real thorough job in their staff report. But I just wanted to touch on a few things. If the presentation can get going, I'm maybe someday I'll be good enough as Ms. Manjula Vaz to be able to share my screen rather than have staff do it. But and that's appreciate Manjula. But if we can get that presentation going, perfect. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So the overall site is about 2.86 acres. It is the site of Tolliver's Flooring. Obviously, it's a very small shape, a limited frontage along Apache Boulevard, really deep site. Surrounding it on the west side is a multifamily development, and on the east is Esperanza Community School and the post office as you head further to the east. And obviously, it's a small site. Next slide. As you guys know, there's multiple requests, and I'll just touch on these briefly. The first is a general plan amendment to the land use map on 0.71 acres, taking it from residential to mixed use. Next slide. The other request is to change the projected density map. You can see on the left where it's a combination of high residential and high to medium residential. And so we're taking it all the way to high density, and that's on about 1.16 acres. Next slide. And then we're also rezoning the site. On the left is the current, on the right is the proposed, taking it from CSS with a TOD overlay to MU4 with a TOD overlay. Obviously, within these, there's a PAD overlay request and development plan review request. Next slide. One of the things that I mentioned, and we know it's important to you all and to CVAC and to staff and others that are interested in Apache Boulevard, are the design guidelines. And we took a hard look at this plan when we were designing this, and it certainly is detailed in staff report. We believe there are a number of elements that we're meeting, and I'll kind of touch on those, but some of which are shade. We've got good combination of structural and organic shade where appropriate, good streetscape treatment and pedestrian scale. We're transitioning our density, or our height as we move north away from Apache Boulevard. And there's a number of others that are detailed in staff's report. Next slide. This is kind of a perspective of the proposed development. Go back one more. There we go. Nope. Yep. Bingo. I apologize. You've got some details and breakdowns in terms of the number of units, the density, the mix of square footage. One of the things that we're doing with this is it is a mixed use development. We do have a public fitness center that I'll be able to show you on another slide along Apache Boulevard. And that is something that's open to the public for people that are looking to maybe not travel as far. They can certainly walk to our fitness center. There'll be memberships available, open to the public. And we know that there's a stipulation or two that talks about some of the things that we need to have within that. As I mentioned, one of the things that we looked at was the design. If necessary, I believe our architect, Britt Perkins with EDI, is on the line, and he can certainly talk a little bit more about the architecture and the design and everything that we did. But I'll take a run at it, and then if we need to hear from Britt, we can do that. Next slide. One of the things that we did as we met with CVAC and had our neighborhood meeting was we got good input and feedback on the color and the materials and those things that we were using. And so what the plan that's before you guys now incorporates those changes and that feedback we received. And you can see on this one, the kind of the character area elements in terms of shading, with lots of structural shading on the building itself, organic shading along Apache Boulevard. Next slide. And we've really tried to make it engaging and pedestrian on the front. You can see there that within the building on this first floor, you've got the entrance that's over on the right side of the screen leading to the public fitness center. And the idea is that it would be engaging and people can go and be able to work on there and get healthy. Next slide. Just briefly on the neighborhood outreach, I mentioned our meeting with CVAC. Again, grateful for their input. We did have a neighborhood meeting before Christmas, and you can see there the number of people that we were notified. We had 3 people that showed up, and a lot of their questions focused on the public gym and kind of trash pickup and collections on the north side. So with that, next slide, I've kept it very brief. Again, I can get into as much or as more detail as you all would like. But again, we're appreciative of the feedback and guidance that we've received along the way, especially for this small, challenging infill redevelopment site. We think this is a good use for the site. Certainly complies with the city's general plan criteria for developments and really focuses in on the Apache character area. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you all might have. Again, Britt Perkins, our architect, is on, and he can speak more about the design if we need to. And then participating with me is Richard Owen with Geffen if we need to, if we have questions for him. So with that, we'd request your recommendation for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Commission members, any questions at this point? Let's see, Don, I see you've got a hand up. I don't know if that was from earlier. Hand is down, okay. All right, at this point, it does not look like, well, you know what, I'll ask a question now. The retail component of this project, is it the entire frontage east to west of the first floor?
If Chair, I've got a floor plan. It is not the entire east to west along Apache Boulevard. It probably encompasses, I would say, at least 80% of that frontage. We do have kind of the lobby leasing area as you come in off of the corner on Apache Boulevard. I've got a slide in staff. I don't know if you can get to it. There's a slide entitled Amenities in the back. It is the
What's the square footage of the health club as it's designed now?
go two more, Jason. Go one more. Sorry. There we go. That's a great question, Chair. I'd have to defer that question to Britt. I believe Britt's on and can answer the square footage of that area.
I don't have the exact in front of me, but it's about 2,500 square feet.
2,500. Okay, thank you. Any other questions, commissioners? All right, we'll give you another chance to talk or respond to some questions here after we have staff's presentation. Ms. Stovall, are you available?
Yes. Good evening, Chair and members of the Commission. I'll just wait till my PowerPoint is put up. Okay, could you go ahead and go to the zoning map slide? Thank you. So this site is located on the north side of Apache, approximately 630 feet west of Smith Road. The applications include a general plan land use and density map amendment from residential to mixed use and medium to high density up to high density. A zoning map amendment from CSS TOD to MU4 TOD, the planned area development overlay to establish development standards, and a development plan review for a new 3 to 5 story mixed use development consisting of residential units and a fitness center that is open to the public. The next slide, please. The project will contain 182 dwelling units at a density of 64 units per acre. Unit types will include studio, 1 and 2 bedrooms. There is a maximum permitted height of 75 feet, although the current building is only designed at a height less than that, and 237 vehicles parking spaces. Next slide, please. The proposal includes a building that is 3 stories on the north end, closer to the single family and lower density multifamily, and steps up to 5 stories at Apache. Vehicular access is provided by a single driveway off Apache that leads to a parking garage on the north end of the building. And then there's a fire lane proposed off of Apache, and then another lane for both fire and refuse service provided from the north end of the site off Hazelton Lane. There are entrances to the fitness facility and the leasing office off of Apache. Next slide, please. Landscaping along Apache includes mulga acacia trees with understory plants, and an additional landscaping is provided along the drive aisle and the outdoor amenity area where there's a pool and spa near the southwest corner of the building. As previously mentioned during the study session, staff is requesting that there's a condition of approval added to the recommendation that requires a solid masonry or concrete wall along the north property line, which is required by the code. The current plan, and you can see in the lower left-hand corner of this slide, shows a wall composed of both concrete and aluminum slats. Next slide, please. So the building ranges from 41 feet high, again on the north end, which is 3 stories, up to 68 feet 4 inches on the south end, fronting Apache. The building is finished with stucco in varying shades of beige and brown, and includes accent material such as brick veneer, wood grain tile, and painted corrugated metal. Next slide, please. You can keep going, actually, to the neighborhood meeting slide. There you go. Thank you. So there was a neighborhood meeting required, and it was held in December 2021. 3 individuals attended. And as the applicant previously stated, most of the questions were about the fitness center. Someone did ask if there would be a wall constructed along the north property line and the project timeline. Outside of that neighborhood meeting, we did not receive any public input. Next slide, please. Staff is recommending approval subject to conditions, and the applicant has reviewed the conditions and is okay with them. Some of the unique conditions in this report is that the fitness center provides locker rooms and showers for use by all customers. And then we had a couple conditions regarding the paint color of the garage and enhancing some of the decorative elements of the garage, which face north towards the rest of the residential neighborhood. And then staff is requesting the addition of one condition, and that condition would be worded as the wall along the north property line shall be constructed of masonry or concrete material. Aluminum slats are not permitted. And that concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Karen. Any questions from the commission? All right, I am not seeing any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Before I open it up for discussion within the commission, I would ask the applicant, Mr. Ray, is there any additional comments that you'd like to make at this point?
Chair, members of the commission, no additional comments. Thank you.
Okay. All right, that closes our presentation. Do we have any comment cards or items to read into the record from the public?
Chairman, we do not.
Okay. I don't see anyone else who's attending the meeting that looks like they may be from the public. So I will close the public comment portion of this case. And I will open it up to discussion amongst the commission, just to make sure that everyone knows for the record that that additional stipulation that Ms. Stovall read into the record, the applicant is in agreement on that condition as well as everything else in the published report. Any comments, commissioners?
Chairman DiDomenico, Commissioner Amorosi. I'd like to thank the developer for being sensitive to the neighborhood in this tough site, stepping down to the 3 stories, and they did a great job covering the garage so you don't see that exposed, and making sure all the traffic goes out onto Apache so that doesn't affect the neighborhood either. And listening to the residents as far as the color palette, even changing the colors to make it more in sync with what the character area is all about. So I will be voting in favor of this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Amorosi. Any other comments or questions? I don't see any, so I will weigh in. I'll start by saying I have no problem at all with the design or the multifamily residential use on the property. I do have a problem with the case, and that is the use of the mixed use designation. I realize this is a challenge site with a limited amount of frontage to work with. But I think that this is just a wink and a nod towards what the intention of a mixed-use project really is. This is a multifamily project that is throwing in a couple thousand feet of really what's probably going to end up to be an amenity for the residents of this project. You know, a true health club that's going to attract members from the neighborhood or from greater distance and truly activate this project to the general public to be a public accommodation. I doubt that that's what this will become. I may be wrong. But in the past, what we've seen with multifamily projects that have first story retail when they give up trying to lease out the space and have no luck, they turn it into a gym for the unit owners above the gym. And so I think that Tempe is really needs to take a harder look at what mixed use really is for these high visibility sites. No doubt we need more multifamily. If we didn't, this sophisticated developer wouldn't be building it in this location. They're not building them for them to sit vacant. So there's a need for this, for the majority of this project, but you know, having developers in the future to get to a mixed use designation, just, you know, throw a broom closet in the corner and call it a Starbucks. You know, not that that's what's being done here, but I mean, I think we really need to take a look at what mixed use really means. So that's my soapbox statement for the day. I would entertain a motion for this project. Commissioner Casano.
Commissioner
Sure.
DiDomenico, Commissioner Amorosi, I'll make a motion to approve Haven at Apache PL 210332 with the additional condition from staff on the wall on the north side. That includes the general plan use GPA 210007, zoning map amendment ZON T21008, the PAD overlay PAD 210016, and the development plan review DPR 210149.
Mr.
Do I have a
Chairman,
second?
yes, Mr. Chairman, this is Commissioner Kasana. I would second that motion.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Do we have any comments? Anything the commission would wish to share before I call for a vote? Scrolling. All right, seeing none, I will call for a roll call vote. Where's my sheet? Here it is. Commissioner Schwartz,
Aye.
Commissioner Casano,
Aye.
Commissioner Vice Chair Bauer.
Aye.
I vote nay. Commissioner Sumners,
Aye.
Commissioner Amorosi,
Aye.
and Commissioner Lloyd.
Aye.
There we go. All right, and by a vote of 6-1 with myself in the minority, this motion is approved, and our recommendation will be passed on to City Council for approval of this project as presented. Applicants, I thank you very much for your presentation. The graphics were fantastic, and the renderings that were supplied were very helpful. Thank you very much. Staff, do we have any final items to share?
Chairman, we do not, but I'm happy to share February 8th agenda items.
All right, Saparna, you're real low on volume again, so go ahead and share with us. We appreciate it.
Okay, I have my.
Oh, that's better. That's
okay.
better.
I'm gonna just talk really loud. We are starting the study session at 5:15 on February 8th. We do, because of the mobility hub and transportation demand management follow-up presentation by our transportation and engineering director, Marilyn DeRosa, as well as Robert Yavis, who's the project manager on that project. With that, the regular agenda, we just have 2 items on that. One is a use permit for to allow second-story addition to an existing single-level, single-family residence for the O'Connor residence on 1209 East Del Rio Drive. And the second use permit is to reduce the west side side yard setback from 15 to 12 feet for the Teledus residence at 1225 Eastwood. Those are the two regular items, agenda items, Chairman.
All right, thank you very much. Commissioners, anyone have any other announcements or questions? All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Chairman, just to follow up, we do, everything is virtual for the next meeting until
Good.
further notice.
Good point. Yeah, until further notice, we're all virtual. So I appreciate it. All right, with that, meeting's adjourned.